I never imagined the crack of my mother-in-law's manicured hand across my cheek would taste like sweet liberation, sharp and metallic on my tongue. For years, I'd been the perfect Southern belle in this gilded cage of Atlanta high society, smiling through the bruises hidden under Chanel sleeves. But that slap? It was the last chain snapping. And then the doors flew open, and in walked the man whose life I'd hijacked, my husband, trapped in my body, his eyes bulging with the horror of a king dethroned. It was supposed to be his night. Senator Harlan Beaumont's big fundraiser at our sprawling estate in Buckhead, the kind of event where Atlanta's elite pretend they're changing the world over shrimp etouffee and 100-year-old bourbon. Crystal chandeliers dripped light like melting diamonds, casting long shadows over power brokers in Tom Ford suits and their wives dripping in Harry Winston. I'd spent the afternoon in the solarium, fussing over the floral arrangements, white orchids for purity, ironic as hell, while Harlan glad-handed donors in the study, promising tax breaks for big pharma and loopholes for the oil barons.
Me?
I was Paisley Beaumont, the trophy wife with the debutante smile and the empty trust fund, the one who organized the silent auctions and whispered yes, darling, to every cutting remark. The slap came right after the toast. Harlan had just raised his glass to family values, his voice booming like thunder over the Georgia pines outside, when Evelyn, my mother-in-law, Queen Bee of the Junior League with her helmet of platinum hair and pearls the size of quail eggs, leaned in close. Her breath smelled of gin and contempt. "You think we don't know about the clinic visits, Paisley? The little accidents you've been sweeping under the rug?" Her words slithered out low, for my ears only, but the venom carried. The room hushed just enough for the next part, her palm connecting with my face, a sharp thwack that echoed off the marble floors. Gasps rippled like a bad stock tip. I tasted blood, felt the heat bloom, but I didn't flinch.
No.
I straightened, smoothed my silk-sheathed dress, and met her ice-blue eyes with a smile that said, "Game on, you old bat." Harlan was across the room, schmoozing a cluster of lobbyists, his broad shoulders straining his custom Zegna tux. He didn't even glance my way, why would he? In his world, I was scenery, a pretty armpiece to soften his edges for the evangelical vote. We'd met at a Vanderbilt mixer 6 years ago. Him the rising star from old Savannah money. Me the wide-eyed girl from a faded mobile plantation family, chasing the American dream one debutante ball at a time. He swept me up in a whirlwind of private jets to Aspen and fundraisers in D.C., promising the white picket fence behind the wrought iron gates. But the dream curdled fast. No kids came, blamed on me. Of course, the barren vessel. Whispers in the family Bible study group. Doctor's appointments that turned into interrogations. And the secrets? God. The secrets Harlan buried deeper than Confederate gold. I touched my cheek, the sting fading into a dull throb, and scanned the room. My sister-in-law, Tessa, hovered nearby, her Botox-frozen face a mask of faux concern, but her eyes gleamed with that predatory glee. She'd always hated me, called me the help behind my back because my daddy was a shrimper, not a shipping magnate like theirs. Evelyn straightened her posture, triumphant, as if she'd just exorcised a demon. "Clean yourself up," she hissed. "This is Harlan's night, not your pity party." The guests averted their eyes, polite as ever in the land of magnolias and manners, but I could feel the fracture lines spiderwebbing through the evening. Phones were already buzzing. Did you see? Poor Paisley. Always the drama queen. That's when the doors burst open. Not a polite creak, but a violent bang that sent a crystal flute shattering on the parquet floor. All heads swiveled. And there he was, Harlan. Or what looked like Harlan, tall.
Chiseled jaw.
That signature salt and pepper wave of hair. The dimple that had melted 1,000 hearts on the campaign trail. But something was off. His suit hung a touch loose. The tie askew like he'd tied it in the dark. And his eyes. Christ. His eyes were wild. Feral. Like a cornered alligator in the Okefenokee. He staggered in, chest heaving, and locked onto me, onto Evelyn. "You bitch," he snarled, voice cracking high and wrong, laced with a tremor that didn't belong to the man who debated filibusters without breaking a sweat. The room froze. Evelyn's face drained of color, her pearls clacking as she clutched her throat. Tessa let out a little yelp, spilling her rose. Harlan, my Harlan, finally turned, his glass midway to his lips, brow furrowing in confusion. "What the hell?" he muttered, setting it down with a clink. The imposter Harlan pushed forward, weaving through stunned guests like a ghost at his own wake. "Paisley," he gasped, reaching for me, his hand trembling. Up close, I saw it. The faint scar on his knuckle from that yacht accident in Charleston. The one only I knew about because I'd stitched it myself with fishing line and vodka. But his grip, when he grabbed my wrist, was soft, hesitant, nothing like the iron vice I knew. And then he whispered, so low only I could hear, "It's me. God help me. It's me." My blood turned to ice water. Because in that moment, staring into those familiar hazel eyes trapped in a stranger's panic, I realized the swap wasn't a dream. It was real. And I'd done it. It started 3 months earlier, in the underbelly of Atlanta, where the peaches rot and the deals get dirty. Harlan had been spiraling, his Senate bid teetering on the edge of scandal. I'd found the emails first, encrypted, but not enough to fool a bored wife with too much time and a borrowed decryption app from the dark web. He wasn't just cheating, he was laundering money through a network of shell companies tied to Russian oligarchs, funneled through fake charities for veterans' widows. My charity, the one I'd poured my soul into after the miscarriages, twisted into a front for his greed. And the kicker? The fall guy was me. Forged signatures, doctored ledgers, evidence planted to make it look like I'd been skimming for years, jealous of his spotlight. Why? I'd confronted him in our master suite, the city lights glittering like false promises beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows. He hadn't even denied it, just laughed. That cold bark that made my stomach knot. Because you're expendable.
Paisley.
Always have been. The public loves a tragic fall, poor little wifey cracking under the pressure. I'll be the grieving hero, rising from the ashes. Evelyn and the family machine would spin it, my mental health issues, the slaps and sermons about womanly duties finally pushing me over. They'd take the kids we never had, the house, the legacy. I'd rot in federal prison, a cautionary tale for debutantes everywhere. I didn't cry. I planned. Burrowed into the shadows of his world, the ones he thought I ignored, the underground clinics in East Atlanta, where biotech wizards peddled miracles for the desperate elite. Body swaps. Not the sci-fi crap, but real. Black market neural mapping. Consciousness transfer via experimental Neuralinks, smuggled from Shenzhen labs. Cost a fortune. My trust fund drained to the dregs. Favors called in from old sorority sisters married to VCs, but it was there. A one-way ticket to his skin. The procedure happened in a converted warehouse off Moreland Avenue. Fluorescent hum and the tang of ozone masking the rot of the Beltline's forgotten corners.
Dr. Voss ex mit
disgraced for ethical lapses, strapped me to a gurney beside Harlan, who'd been dosed with roofies in his scotch at a strategy session.
No consent. No merci.
The machine whirred to life, a crown of electrodes blooming fire in my skull. And then, nothing. Blackness, vast as the Atlantic. When I woke, it was to the weight of his body, broader shoulders, the scratch of stubble, a morning erection that made me gag. I was Harlan Beaumont, senator from Georgia, staring at my own face across the room, vacant eyes and a slack jaw. The real Paisley, him, trapped and terrified. The first days were a blur of power. His power. I navigated his schedule like a tightrope, committee hearings where I filibustered on fracking rights, golf outings with donors where I closed deals with backroom handshakes and veiled threats. But the betrayal festered. Evelyn's calls, dripping concern. Harlan, darling, Paisley's been
Off.
those clinic bills. Tessa's texts, probing. Mom says she's popping pills again. They were circling, tightening the noose, oblivious that their puppet was pulling its own strings. I played the part, but I watched. Dug deeper into the ledgers. Found the bodies, not literal, but close. Whistleblowers silenced with NDAs and accidents. A rival congressman ruined by leaked nudes that Harlan had orchestrated. The crime I'd take the fall for? Not just money, it was a hit. A quiet elimination of a journalist sniffing too close, covered as a suicide. Harlan's mistake. My noose. In his body. I had access. Passcodes. Safe combinations. The .38 in his nightstand drawer engraved HB. 1985. Revenge brewed slow, like sweet tea on a July porch. I started small, leaks to anonymous tip lines, whispers to reporters over encrypted signal. But it wasn't enough. They deserved to feel the fracture, the slow unraveling of their empire. The party was the stage. Invite the press, the donors, the whole rotten circus. Let them see the emperor naked. Back in the ballroom, the imposter, me, the real Harlan in my skin, clutched my arm, his painted nails digging in. Paisley, listen, but Evelyn cut him off, storming forward like a battleship in Chanel. What is this nonsense? Harlan. Security. Two burly ex-Marines in ill-fitting tuxes materialized from the shadows. But I, the new Harlan, raised a hand, voice steady as granite. Stand down.
Now.
The room hung on a knife's edge. Guests murmured.
Phone's out.
Liv tweeting the meltdown. Tessa hovered, eyes darting between us like she was calculating alimony splits. The real Harlan whimpered in my voice. It's a mistake. She's lost it. But I saw the flicker in his eyes, the dawning horror that this wasn't some breakdown. This was war. I stepped forward, the weight of his loafers grounding me, and wrapped an arm around Paisley's shoulders, possessive,
husbandly.
Everyone, let's take a breath. My wife's had a rough night. Lies. Smooth as bourbon. Evelyn's face twisted, suspicion sharpening her gaze. Harlan, what are you? Later. Mother. The word tasted like ash, but it landed like a gavel. She recoiled, and, for the first time, I saw fear in those patrician eyes. The band struck up a hesitant jazz number, Cole Porter to soothe the savages. But the air crackled. I steered Paisley toward the French doors leading to the terrace, the city's skyline a jagged crown beyond. You have 10 seconds, I murmured. lips brushing my ear. Tell me you didn't know about the journalist. The money. The frame job. His breath hitched, tears smearing mascara. We had to. For the family. For the seat. Paisley, please. Swap us back. Voss said it was reversible. Liar. I'd burned that bridge weeks ago. Voss's lab a smoldering ruin in my rear view. Irreversible. Like the miscarriages they'd blamed on me. The slaps disguised as discipline. Out on the terrace, the December chill bit through the thin fabric of my dress, his dress on me now, and I shoved him against the balustrade. Hard enough to bruise ribs. You made me a ghost in my own life. Now you're the ghost. He sobbed. A sound that twisted something deep in my gut. Pity?
No.
Just the echo of every night I'd curled fetal in our king bed. The evidence is in the safe. Behind the Warhol. Code's your birthday. A desperate gambit. But I already had it. I'd cracked it days ago. Downloading files to a burner drive. Enough to bury them all. Evelyn's offshore accounts. Tessa's coke habit funneled through party donations. Harlan's kill order disguised as a consulting fee. I leaned in, close enough to smell my own perfume on him, jasmine and regret. Enjoy the party, darling. It's your last as a free man. Then I kissed him, full on the mouth. For the crowd's benefit, the devoted couple weathering the storm. Cameras flashed from the terrace doors. Let the headline spin. Senator's wife meltdown. Mysterious doppelganger crashes gala?
Inside.
Harlan mingled, toasting with the poise of a man who'd never lost control. But my mind raced. The swap had glitches, phantom pains in my old body. Flashes of his memories bleeding through like bad acid. Childhood whippings from Evelyn for softness. Frat hazing that left scars. The night he dosed the journalist's drink and watched her drive into the Chattahoochee. It fueled me. By midnight, as the caterers cleared plates of pecan pie, I'd slipped the USB to a trusted reporter, Lila from the AJC. The one Harlan had tried to smear last year. Merry Christmas, I whispered. Unwrap carefully. Evelyn cornered me in the library, port glass trembling in her grip. What's happened to you? Harlan?
You're
different. And that thing pretending to be Paisley. Sharp as ever. Mother. I poured myself a finger of Pappy Van Winkle, savoring the burn. But let's talk about you. That Cayman account? The one you use for charity? Her face went the color of clotted cream. How dare? I dare because I'm done playing son. The words hung heavy. Oak-paneled walls closing in. She lunged, clawing at my arm, his arm, with nails like talons. You ungrateful whelp. We made you. Without us. You're nothing. A sniveling boy who couldn't even
slap.
My hand cracked across her face, mirroring the one she'd given me earlier. The sting echoed in my palm, but it felt righteous, biblical. She staggered, hand to cheek, eyes wide with betrayal. Harlan. Not Harlan. Not anymore. I leaned in, voice a low drawl. Paisley sends her regards. She crumpled into the leather armchair. The queen dethroned, as sirens wailed distant in the night. FBI. Tipped off by my anonymous call. The twist was coming, the one that would gut them all. The fallout hit like a Category 5 off the Gulf, whipping through Atlanta's power corridors with gale force gossip. By dawn, the AJC's website was a bonfire. Beaumont scandal, senator's wife at center of money laundering probe, but who's the mystery man? Lila had buried the lead deep, teasing just enough to hook the feds without burning her source. Evelyn barricaded in the guest wing, lawyered up with the firm's Silver Fox partner who'd once gotten Harlan off a DUI in college. Tessa fled to her condo in Midtown, posting cryptic Bible verses on Insta about false idols. And Paisley, the real Harlan, paced our bedroom like a caged panther, pounding fists into silk pillows, demanding the swap reversal in a voice that cracked like puberty all over again. I watched him from the ensuite, toweling off after a shower in his body, steam fogging the mirror, revealing the faint laugh lines I'd never noticed, the paunch from too many steakhouse ribeyes. It was intoxicating. This reversal. For the first time, I controlled the remote, the checkbook, the narrative. "You'll adapt," I said, slipping into his monogrammed robe, the silk whispering against skin that felt foreign yet fitting, like a glove stretched too tight. "Or you won't. Either way, it's over." He whirled, my old features twisted in rage, delicate nose flaring, lips I'd once fretted over with gloss now snarling. "You crazy bitch. This is kidnapping. Assault. I'll have you locked in Gitmo by lunch." But his threats landed soft, undermined by the tremor in my vocal cords, the way my hands fluttered like startled birds. I dosed him again that night, a sleeper in the champagne, to keep the glitches at bay, the migraines that blurred his vision, the muscle twitches that made fine motor skills a gamble. Voss had warned it, neural rejection, the brain fighting its new cage. "Try it," I replied, casual as pouring coffee. "Call the cops. Tell em your wife stole your soul. See how that plays in the Bible Belt." I sipped from his mug, black,
No sugar.
a habit I'd mocked, and scrolled the tablet for updates. The feds were raiding the estate by noon. Warrants faster than you'd say, subpoena. Evidence I'd planted. The safe's contents, now copied and couriered, included Evelyn's emails greenlighting the journalist's removal, Tessa's Venmo trails to the mule accounts. Harlan's kill order, timestamped for my phone, during one of my spa weekends in Savannah. I'd borne his sins. All right, framed as the fragile flower cracking under pressure.
Now.
The thorns turned outward. He lunged, but I sidestepped easy. His body was a tank. Reflexes honed from pickup basketball with AIDS. I pinned him to the four-poster, knee in his gut, and for a heartbeat, we were mirror images, me and his form looming over him and mine. "Feel that?" I hissed. That's what it was like every time you rolled over in bed. Ignoring the bruises from your mother's lessons. Every fundraised dollar stained with someone else's blood. His eyes, my eyes, widened. A flash of memory not his. The night after the first miscarriage. Evelyn slapping me in the hospital hall, whispering, "Weak stock. Harlan deserves better." I'd swallowed it. For the dream.
Now.
I spat it back. The doorbell chimed. Feds. Right on cue. I released him, straightening my robe like a general pre-battle. Smile for the cameras.
Dear.
You're the victim. Remember? Downstairs. Chaos reigned. Black SUVs clogging the driveway. Agents in windbreakers swarming the foyer, barking for documents. Evelyn emerged from her lair, composed as a mortician. But her eyes darted wild when she saw me, Harlan, descending the grand staircase. "Son," she breathed, clutching my arm. "Tell them it's a mistake. Paisley's unhinged pills. Stress. That infertility nonsense." I patted her hand, gentle as venom. "Mother. The ledgers don't lie." Her grip tightened, nails drawing pinpricks of blood, his blood. "What have you done?" But before I could answer, Paisley stumbled down, disheveled in my negligee. Mascara tracks like war paint. "Officers, arrest her, she's not me. She's." The room stilled. Agents exchanging glances like I'd scripted. One stepped forward.
Backlintin, ma'am.
"We need you to come downtown." Routine questions. Harlan thrashed, but they cuffed him gentle. For the optics, poor distraught wife. I followed in the convoy. Harlan's Lincoln purring like a predator. Radio crackling with updates from my burner plant. At the field office in Peachtree, the interrogation room smelled of stale coffee and desperation. They separated us, Paisley in one, me in the adjacent, mirrored glass between. I could see him pounding the table, mouthing silent screams as the agent, tough broad named Reyes, leaned in. "Mrs. Beaumont, walk us through the accounts." The journalist, Ms. Delgado, her death. "You signed off. From the shadows." I listened via a hacked earpiece, heart pounding in his chest.
Harlan cracked fast.
My voice breaking into sobs. It wasn't me.
Harlan, he forced.
"The swap. Oh God. The swap." Reyes paused, scribbling notes. But her partner chuckled low. "Swap? Like trading cards?"
"Mom."
"Maybe lay off the Xanax." They didn't buy it, not yet. But the evidence did the work. Forensics tying the journalist's break line tampering to Harlan's garage logs. My confession email drafted in his style. Sent from a VPN mask server. Evelyn's turn came next door. I watched her crumble. That steel magnolia wilting under fluorescent glare. "I protected my family," she spat. But the recordings I'd spliced in, her voice authorizing whatever it takes for the Russian deal, sealed it. By evening, charges flew. Conspiracy, fraud, manslaughter. Tessa flipped first. Plea deal for immunity. Spilling like a confessional at First Baptist. The family empire teetered. Stocks in Beaumont shipping plummeting. Headlines screaming Southern Dynasty's dark underbelly. But revenge isn't a straight shot. It's a boomerang, carving flesh on the return. That night, alone in Harlan's club, oak-paneled sanctum of cigar smoke and backroom deals, I nursed a scotch and felt the first real glitch. A migraine split my skull. Visions assaulting, not mine, but his, a boyhood memory of Evelyn locking him in the root cellar for disobedience, the darkness pressing like sin. Empathy?
No.
Just the neural bleed. His traumas seeping into my marrow. I slammed the glass down, shattering it. Blood, his blood, welling from my palm. Was this power? Or possession? The line blurred, and doubt crept in like kudzu. Lila met me at a dive off Ponce de Leon, the kind of joint where hipsters sip PBR next to grizzled vets nursing Miller High Life. She slid into the booth, notebook fat with notes, eyes sharp as a hawk on a cottontail. "Paisley, or should I say Harlan, this is Pulitzer shit."
But the swap story.
"That's tinfoil hat territory. Stick to the docs." I nodded, but my mind raced. The truth was the weapon, but unleashing it fully, I'd be the freak. Dissected on CNN. Reduced to a tabloid sideshow. Wife steals hubby's brain. Georgia's weirdest heist?
No.
Better to let the crime stand. The family rot exposed.
While I wore his skin like a second chance.
Yet Harlan wouldn't fade quiet. From holding, he smuggled a message via a guard's wife, sympathy card with a scrawled plea. Voss had a partner. Reversal possible. Meet at the old mill. Midnight. End this. My pulse quickened. Reversal meant back to me, weak, broken Paisley, the fall guy. Or stay as Harlan, rebuild from the ashes, but forever haunted by his ghosts. Controversial choice: cling to stolen power, or reclaim the self I'd buried. I went to the mill, Chattahoochee fog thick as regret, Harlan's jag crunching gravel under moonlight. The partner waited, a wiry Asian man in a lab coat. Voss's shadow, eyes gleaming with greed. 50 grand, he said, case of vials glinting. 1 injection. Souls realign. Harlan emerged from the gloom, still in my body, gaunt and feral, clutching a tire iron like a talisman. Do it, he growled. Give me back my life. I hesitated, the weight of decisions pressing. Shoot him now. End the threat, murder, but merciful. Or swap back. Face the wreckage as myself. Testify in my voice. The mill loomed, skeletal against the stars, whispering of forgotten industry, lost southern dreams. Paisley, I pleaded, stepping close. We can fix this. BS again. The tire iron swung wild, catching my shoulder, pain lanced hot. But I grabbed his wrist, twisting until he dropped it. We grappled, bodies clashing in a grotesque ballet, his strength in my frame against my desperation in his. The case spilled, vials shattering like brittle bones. No, the partner yelped, lunging, but I kicked him down, Harlan's loafer connecting with jaw. He crumpled, out cold. Panting, I pinned Harlan myself against the rusted wall, his breath ragged in my lungs. You don't get it, I whispered. This is my life now. The sirens wailed distant. Backup, I'd called. Anonymous tip on a disturbance. Feds swarmed again, cuffing the partner, hauling Paisley away for assault. He screamed my name, his name, as they dragged him, the truth dying on his lips. Back home, alone in the king bed, I traced the bruise blooming on his shoulder. Power tasted bittersweet, like pecan pie with a cyanide chaser. The family was shattered, Evelyn in cuffs,
Tessa testifying.
Harlan remanded pending trial. I'd testify too, as him, sealing the coffin. But the glitches worsened, dreams of his childhood abuses blending with mine. A hybrid horror. Was I avenging, or becoming the monster? The trial opened in federal court downtown, a concrete fortress amid the steel and glass spires of Peachtree Center, where justice smells like Lysol and loser dreams. I sat in the gallery first week, Harlan's pinstripe suit crisp as a new bill, watching Paisley shuffle in orange jumpsuit, chains rattling like Jacob Marley's ghost. The press corps buzzed, CNN embeds, Fox stringers, even a true crime podcasty with a man bun and misplaced moral outrage. Beaumont bonfire, from power couple to prison bound, screamed the banners. Atlanta ate it up. Water cooler fodder from Inman Park cafes to country club locker rooms. Prosecutor was a bulldog named Hargrove, Emory Law 98, with a drawl that could curdle milk and eyes like laser sights. He built the case methodical, ledgers projected on screens big as billboards. Evelyn's voice crackling from speakers. Handle it, Harlan. No loose ends. The journalist's photo smiling postmortem. Her byline on the exposé that never ran. Tessa took the stand day 3. Botox cracking under Klieg lights. Spilling tear-streaked tales of family pressure and just following orders. The jury, 12 good folks from Gwinnett County, mix of teachers and mechanics, ate it up, nodding like it was Sunday sermon. Then Paisley. Harlan in my skin, gaunt as a rail from jail slop, took the stand looking like a kicked puppy. I almost pitied him, almost. His lawyer, a slick ambulance chaser from Decatur, tried the insanity plea. Your Honor, my client claims identity displacement. A radical procedure. Experimental. Snickers rippled through the courtroom. Hargrove objected, sustained with a gavel crack. Harlan leaned into the mic. My voice quavering. It wasn't me. She did this. Stole my body. My life. Paisley, she's the one who ordered the hit. Framed us all. He pointed straight at me, eyes wild. And for a split second, the jury leaned in, titillated by the freak show twist. I held still. Harlan's face a mask of wounded concern, husband grieving his broken wife. But inside, my gut churned. The glitches had ramped up during voir dire. I'd blacked out, coming to with his memory of the kill, watching from the shadows as the tampered brakes gave way. The splash in the river like a baptism gone wrong. Guilt? No. Just the merge accelerating. Our psyches tingling like kudzu vines. Was I Paisley avenging betrayal? Or Harlan reliving sins? The line dissolved daily. His arrogance seeping in, snapping at waitstaff. Craving the adrenaline of closed deals, while my empathy softened his edges, making me question the blood price. Evelyn testified last. A spectral figure in navy Chanel. Pearls swapped for a court-issued necklace. She invoked the Bible. The flag. Every southern shibboleth. I did what a mother does. Protect her own. But the cross-ex? Brutal. Hargrove played the tape, her laughing over speakerphone as Harlan detailed the frame-up. Paisley was always fragile. Perfect scapegoat. The jury's faces hardened. One older woman dabbing tears for the real victim, me. The invisible ghost. Evelyn cracked then, hurling invective. You vipers. Harlan. Fix this. Tell them the truth. I met her gaze, cool as creek water, and mouth. This is the truth. Verdicts came swift, guilty across the board. Evelyn to 20. White-collar wing at Alderson. Tessa community service and probation. Her socialite shine tarnished to tarnish. Harlan, manslaughter bump for the journalist, got 15. Minimum security in Jessup. Close enough for conjugal, if I wanted irony. The gavel fell, and the courtroom exhaled, reporters stampeding for quotes. I slipped out a side door, Harlan's credentials flashing like a shield, into the humid slap of Atlanta dusk. Freedom? It tasted like ash. The weight of his sins heavier than mine ever were. But the real twist brewed in the shadows. Lila cornered me at a hole-in-the-wall talk area in Grant Park, away from prying eyes, her laptop open to encrypted files. Paisley, the partner's talking. Voss's associate, name's Kai, says the swap wasn't clean. Residual links. Neural echoes. She tapped a scan, brain waves overlapping. Mine and his, like Siamese code. You feel it, don't you? The bleed. I nodded, throat tight. Nights blurred now, waking in cold sweats from his dreams of Vietnam vet daddy's belt, or mine of empty nurseries. Power had bought revenge, but at what cost? Becoming him to destroy him left me hollow, a chimera in a power suit. The controversial call came that week, pardon or purge. As Harlan, I had backroom calls to DOJ contacts, promises of PAC donations to quash appeals. Let him rot. And the merge completed. I inherit the seat, the fortune. Rebuild as the reformed senator crusading against corruption. Or mercy. Engineer a suicide in Jessup. Tire iron to the temple. Blame jailhouse blues. Dark choice. Straight from his playbook. I drove to the prison under cover of night. Visitor log fudged with a bribed guard. Face to plexiglass with a man in my skin. He looked wrecked. Hair limp. My cheekbones hollowed by stress. Paisley, he croaked, picking up the phone. Voice a rasp. End it. Swap or kill me. I can't live as you. Irony dripped, the alpha male. Reduced to begging in a woman's frame. I pressed palm to glass. Feeling the echo, his hand mirroring. Our touches sinking through the neural ghost. You created this, I said. The frame, the hit, the slaps you let slide. He sobbed.
Snot-streaked.
I was wrong. Scared. Evelyn. She pushed. But the miscarriage, that killed me too. I blamed you to survive. The admission hung. A reversal sharper than any verdict. Not just betrayal, grief. Twisted into monstrosity. His pain, mine, intertwined. The guard shifted, watch ticking. Decision time. Forgiveness as suicide, or vengeance as eternity. I stood. Harlan's loafers rooted. Live with it, I said finally. As I did, hung up, walked out into the pine-scented dark. Controversial? Hell yes, leaving him to fester in my skin. A living punishment. Mercy or cruelty? Let the talk shows debate. Rebuilding started slow. I shuttered the estate. Sold the Jag for a sensible Tesla, green cred for the new platform. Campaigned on family reform, ironic speeches about second chances, drawing cheers from the same donors who toasted the old regime. Lila broke the swap story soft, as alleged procedure in a deep dive piece, framing it as desperate wife's bid for justice. Public ate it. Paisley power trended. Podcasts dissected the ethics. Was it vigilante genius or Frankenstein folly? But the bleed deepened. In D.C. briefings, I'd catch myself in his cadences, cutting deals with a ruthlessness that chilled even me. Dates? Awkward fumbles. Women drawn to the widower's charm. But his urges warred with my asexuality post-trauma, leaving me adrift. One night, alone in his Georgetown row house, mine now, I stared at the mirror, hazel eyes staring back. But whose soul? Paisley's fire. Harlan's ice. The twist inverted. I'd avenged the betrayal. Exposed the secrets. Borne the crime no more. But victory was bichromatic, half triumph, half tragedy. Had I freed myself, or forged a new cage? Evelyn wrote from prison, letters in her looping script. You were always the strong one.
Daughter.
Forgive? Burned them unread. Tessa surfaced, contrite over brunch at the varsity, begging board seats in the revamped foundation. Redemption arc, she winked. But I saw the schemer. Earn it, I said, handing her a mop for the food bank shift. Power's rhythm shifted, less tense, more tense muscle, flexing in service rather than spite. The ending? Debatable as a Supreme Court leak. Harlan rots, pen pal to shrinks, my body a canvas for his unraveling. I thrive as him, senator with a secret, pushing bills for women's shelters. Neural ethics oversight, irony's sharpest blade. Happy? For the headlines.
Yes.
Tragic? In the quiet hours, when his ghosts whisper and my reflection lies. The slap that started it all echoes still, not pain, but the spark that rewrote the night. And in America's heartland of contradictions, that's as close to justice as it gets. Epilogue whispers in the fall of my first term, leaves turning blood red on the Georgetown streets. A far cry from Atlanta's sticky summers. I'd won the seat handily, landslide in the burbs, slim in the city, riding the scandal wave as the Phoenix senator, all reformed grit and telegenic gravitas. Staffers buzzed around the office. Young guns from Yale and Spelman, drafting bills on biotech regs and spousal rights, my pet projects laced with personal venom. Lila interviewed me for her book, Swap Secrets, The Beaumont Betrayal, over crab cakes at Fiola, her questions probing like a therapist's couch. Regrets? She asked, fork pausing midair. I swirled my Pinot Noir, Harlan's pinky ring catching light. Only that it took a heist to steal my own voice.
Tut bent.
Of course, the merge complete now. Glitches faded to faint itches, like phantom limbs long severed. I was Paisley and Harlan, a hybrid wielding his clout for her causes, funding for fertility clinics, whistleblower protections, even a quiet push to exhume the journalist's case for full exoneration. Donors grumbled, too woke for the old guard, but the base loved it. Viral clips of Senator Beaumont tearing up over a woman's untold story. Harlan's appeals dragged. Pro bono shrinks diagnosing delusional dysphoria, his ravings about body thieves dismissed as jailhouse folly. I visited once more. 6 months post-verdict. The plexiglass a colder divide now. I looked institutionalized, hair cropped short, my features softened by meds, eyes dull as pond scum. Paisley, he murmured. No fight left. It's eating you too, isn't it? The echoes. I nodded, the shared neural scar throbbing faint. What do you dream? He asked, voice a ghost. Of endings, I said. Yours, mostly, but the lie soured. Dreams were ours now, blended nightmares of slaps and rivers, miscarriages and mill fights. He'd confessed in therapy leaks. To the warden, the frame was Evelyn's brainchild, but he'd executed. Grief over our losses twisting him vicious. Thought it'd make us even, he'd scrawled in a smuggled note. Reversal's cruelest cut, not just betrayal, but shared fracture. He'd borne my pain too, in silence, until it broke us both. Evelyn died in custody, heart attack. Official, karma. My whisper. Tessa clawed back. Marrying a tech bro in Silicon Valley. Birthing the heirs she'd mocked me for lacking. I sent a silver rattle. Engraved from Aunt Paisley, petty, but pointed. The foundation thrived. Rebranded Beaumont Women's Alliance. Silent auctions now for real widows, not shells. Atlanta invited me back for galas. Cautious toasts to new beginnings. I smiled. The dimple theirs, but the fire mine. The final twist hit in spring. Cherry blossoms shedding like confetti on the tidal basin. Kai, the partner, surfaced. Not dead but deported. Emailing from a Shenzhen safe house. Reversal serum. Refined. $200,000 wired. One shot. Souls untangle. I stared at the attachment, brain scans diverging. The merge reversible after all. Controversial apex. Inject and reclaim Paisley. Testify as her. Fade to obscurity with a book deal and therapy. Or stay forged. Wield the power for more. Bills. Exposés. A reckoning for every silent Southern wife. I burned the drive in a Potomac bonfire. Ashes scattering on the wind.
Stay.
Because the body was just clay, the revenge, the real swap, a victim to victor. Harlan lingered in letters. Philosophical now, we're both free.
In a way.
Maybe. The ending debates itself in op-eds, heroic hack or hubristic horror. Happy for the headlines, Senator saves the day. Tragic in the mirror, where hazel eyes hold two souls, forever entwined. And on quiet nights, I raise a glass to the slap that started it, the sting that woke the beast. In America's theater of the absurd, where power plays like poker and betrayal's the ante, that's the hand I played. All in.